Shalom. Shalom, shalom. It's good to see everybody. Trying to get situated here. See, I'm gonna have to do this. Shalom, Sister Sharon. I hope all is well. It's good to see you. I don't usually use my phone too often. Um, Now I need to use it. Trying to get this thing together. It's good to see you. I hope the Most High is keeping you whole and the family's doing well. Um, Apologize on the delay. This phone, it's an older phone, and I let the kids use it, and then they just download so much stuff on it. Yeah, I saw it's supposed to start this evening. Um, Probably around I think they said like 3 a.m. So we'll see what comes on. I'm not ready for it now. I just got them saying I'm ready for the warmth. I'm tired of the cold as well, you know. It's like the seasonal weather and everything else. It's just yeah, because we do need the weather, and we need the weather because it's balanced. It balances it out, you know. I know y'all are down there in Atlanta and in Georgia as well. Shalom, my brother. And I know people down south. They say they wish for they like, look, y'all don't want snow, but we want snow, you know. But you know how it is driving in the snow and everything like that. Little things like that, they start to become a nuisance, and you get tired of the shoveling and everything else. I'm just trying to let y'all know. I'm just trying to get this phone. It's frozen, and I need it. I need this thing to work today. Um, so the lesson today is going to be out of the book of Jasher, Jasher chapter 5. Let me let Jason know. I know some people they're complaining about that I don't send the invite, and but I'm like I'm live pretty much every Shabbat. So they need to know they need to just have their own diligence and step on in and get on here. Yeah, we're doing well. Amir made the honor roll. Gabriella, she's still trying. She's preparing for her. She has a recital with her instrument. Um, so we got that coming on up, and it's probably going to be Saturday. But oh man, the math is trying to get my phone to work. Look, it keeps on fading in and out and in, and I got zero idea what's going on. So I may have to try to get another device because today's lesson's out of the book of Jasher, and I mean out of Jubilee, and I actually don't have that in the book form. I have the book of Jasher. Now that was one of the um, apocryphal books that were later on founded. Um, and it's opening, and every time it wants to close. So see, like that, I don't want to start the lesson. And as soon as I start this lesson, it's freezing up again real quick. Hold on 1 second. Gabriella, hold on. Gabriella, you don't want my phone? Shalom, shalom. I'm here. I'm back. Hasatan's already starting, trying to give us issues, locking the phone out where it keeps resetting. I said, okay, I already see where this is going to go today. But today's lesson's out of Jubilee chapter 5. Sister Sharon said hello, Gab. So just give me a second. Heavenly Father, Yah, in the name of Yeshua, we come before your throne. We first want to align ourselves. We first want to take a deep breath in and out. Allow you to come into us. Decrease in us, Heavenly Father, as you increase in us. Give us the knowledge and the wisdom to speak your righteous word. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Let it be so. Amen. So like I said, y'all just got to bear with me. Everything was ready, but the phone kept locking out. But today's lesson is about flooding it out, flooding things out. And we look, and I know we know a lot of the story, and some people may or may not subscribe or accept to the book of Jubilees, but I do believe that the Most High has allowed these authors to, we still deal with the word that was spoken and given to authors from the Most High. So, chapter 5, there we go. Jubilee 5. I know if not, we're just going to go out of Genesis. All right, Jubilee chapter 5. And here we go. Of course, they give me the smallest print in the history, right? And it came to pass when the children of men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the angels of Elohim, of God, saw them on certain years of the Jubilee, that they were beautiful to look upon. And they took themselves wives of all whom they chose, and they bare unto them sons, and they were giants. And lawlessness increased on the earth, and all of flesh corrupted its way. Right? Alike, men, cattle, beasts, shalom, and birds, and everything that walks on the earth, all of them were corrupted in their way and in their righteous order. They then began to devour each other, and lawlessness increased on the earth, and every imagination of thought of all of man thus was continually evil. And Elohim and God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, and all of flesh had corrupted its order, and all that were on the earth, and had brought wrong manner and evil before his eyes. And he said, I shall destroy man and all the flesh on the face of the earth, which I have created. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh, eyes of the Lord, and against the angels who he sent upon the earth, he was exceedingly wroth, and he gave a commandment to root them out of the dominion. And he said that he would bind them in the depths of the earth, and behold, they are bound in the midst of them. I'm reading out of Jubilee chapter 5. And against their sons he went forth and commanded from before his face that they should be smitten with the sword and be removed from under heaven. And he said, thy spirit will not always abide on man, for they are flesh, and their days shall be, here we go, 120 years. So we can, I just want to pause right there for that one. So we say 120 years. You know, a lot of times they say, oh, you know, it was David's opinion on how long someone can live, because a lot of times people always go in the book of Psalms and they say, you know, you're going to live to be 76. No, Torah is telling us 100. You speak that. I want to live to be 120 years old. I want my ancestors to be 120 years old. I want my dog to be, to be 120 years old, right? We see it over and over. So we see, I'm going to jump down to 11. We saw that there was corruptness on the earth. Hey, shalom, prophets. You had a great word, and you doing what you got to do for right now. You know, you doing it. You doing what you were called to do. So we understand chaos was going on the earth, all kind of, where we are today, how they say that we are in the days of Noah. Men and women, people are doing what they want with no regard. People are just, I was just walking and I was in the store and you could just see a darkness in people. And I understand as we grow spiritually, the Most High illuminates and allows you to see things different, but there's still a darkness. Now, I kind of went back and forth like, oh, is it because I'm here now and the Most High is taking me in a higher spirit realm that I can see the darkness? But there's just I'm talking to people who are unbelievers and they even see it. They said it's just something eerily and dark that's going on out here in the world. Everybody's angry. Everybody's short. Everybody's quick-tempered. Everybody, is doing what they want to do with no regards for other people. Here we are, right? So we see. So in Jubilee 5, right, he says that everything that he had made, the judgment of all is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets in righteousness, even the judgment of all who depart from the path which is ordained for them to walk in. We were all ordained from the very beginning to what? Walk in the emet, in the truth. You were, I was, the whole planet was, the whole corruptness of the earth, right? So you see, what's happening now is not enough people that are outstanding on the word of Elohim or the Most High. There's not a lot of people, as we look into the book of the Maccabees and saw everything that the Maccabees were doing, and what the Maccabees went through. They said we were going to die to death. They said we stand by Torah, that it doesn't matter what you do, what you say. Where are we today? I guarantee you, if you lined up maybe 90% of the people I'm just saying, you got to watch what we say on social media. But people, they don't care. They are lovers of themselves. People are at the point that they're carrying so much that's within them, right? So much hatred, so much anger, resentment that's been passed down through generation upon generations, and they wonder why they can't get free. They wonder why that, we're still living and we're not elevating. We're still stuck in the same, I tell people, you're ice skating up a hill. Your wheels are just spinning. You're like the cartoon where you look like you're running and you're not going nowhere. You're modulating, you're moving, but you're standing still, right? We can't continue to accept that. We got to tell the Most High, listen, y'all, I need you to take me to the place that you want me to be, right? I need you to help me be the best person I can be, right? And I need you to what? Speak to me in everything that you say, right? I will what? Repeat and say. We're coming to a time that we've been holding our tongue too long. Prophets, teachers, we ain't holding the tongue no more. This is serious spiritual warfare that's out here. They're not holding their tongue. It's this spiritual warfare out here that is the next finest. We have become so defensive as people, and so defensive that, we're just going to wait. Why are you going to wait? Now, you got to be ready. You got to be ready for it to go on the attack. But it starts where? It starts within you. Your temple must be clean. You must be inner-dwelling. Yah must be inner-dwelling in you 24/7. And where does it start, right? He can't dwell within us when we have all this pollution in us and all of this darkness. So now we start seeing, we're back to here, right? Where the Most High says, I'm going to send in what? A flood. I'm sending in a flood. When you drop down, it says the only person he saw was Noah. I'm sending in a flood to what? To cleanse the earth. So when we sit back and look at the importance of water, we sit back and see, okay, well, what does water do? What is its importance? And I know many of us know it, but for those who may not, let's go to Numbers chapter 8. We're gonna roll through some scriptures today. Numbers 8, verse 7 and 7. Numbers 8, 7 and 7. And it says, we were talking about, we'll start at 5. Then Yahweh said to Moses, separate the Levites from the rest of the people in Israel and purify them. So why would the leaders need to be set apart and purified? Why didn't he purify the leader, right, at the same time that he purified all of congregation, of all the people in the assembly, right? He says in the following way, sprinkle them with water of purification And then he tells them, and have them shave their whole bodies, have them wash, right, their clothes. Then they will be ritually clean, right? So, you know, he's telling you that the process of you getting, I'm about to take you someplace else, but I need to clean you out. I need to flood you out. The same way he flooded the earth out. See, when we go back and we look at the whole part of the flood, it was the flood to what? Restart the world. Sometimes we got to flood our own self out. If you ever think about flooding, right? What happens, we'll just use it like this. We deal with addiction or we're dealing with depression. So what do? I grab some alcohol, I start drinking. What are you doing? Trying to flood out that depression, trying to flood out the ways in your thoughts. What are you doing? I'm using drugs. What's the drugs doing? It's flooding into your bloodstream. It's putting something else. When we start looking at this, you're in the hospital, you're dehydrated. What are they doing? They rehydrate you and they flood you with nutrients. They flood you with all of the IVs, right? So we got to start to sit back and we have to start flooding ourselves with the word of the Most High. Because that is what is going to cleanse us. We see it over and over. Let's go to Ezekiel 36, 20. Now, we'll jump to Hebrews 10 and 22. I got them written down on my notes today, y'all. Hebrews 10 and 22. So we got to understand is sometimes floods come in to what? Clean us out. Sometimes floods and disasters happen to what? Clean you out. Because when the flood came in, when the water came in, what is it doing? Yes, it's wiping out all that is old, all that is toxic, all that is causing death, despair, and destruction. So that's what's happening. It's cleaning out and making a new path. So Hebrews 10:22, it says, let us draw near with a true heart and a full assurance of faith, with a heart sprinkled clean from what? An evil conscience. So the water, the flood is a water, the power of the Ma'in, an evil conscience. Our mind is set on what? The evilness. So what do we have to do? It says, and allows our body to be washed with the pure water. We got to flood it down. We got to flood it out. You got to flood out all that stuff that we've been dealing with. We got to flood out all that anger, all that depression, all that resentment, all those things in order to get where the Most High wants us to go. This is why, going back reading about Genesis and the flood, it's deeper than that. I'm giving you a reset. We're starting new. John chapter 7, verse 38. So we'll go to Yohanan, John 7, verse 38. Whoever believes in me, as the scripture has said, out of his heart will flow what? Rivers of what? Flow rivers of living water, fresh water. Back to Genesis chapter 1. Fresh waters. The waters are moving. Now we go back to Genesis 1. In the beginning, when Yah created the universe, the earth was what? Formless and desolate. Chaos going on. Formless and chaos just going on in your life. Just everything you're going through. The earth was formless and desolate. The raging ocean covered everything and was engulfed in total darkness. The spirit of Yah was moving over the water. So once the spirit of Yah came in, was moving over water, it never told us the water was moving. The water was sitting there desolate. The water was sitting there stinking. It was stinking because why? The fallen were what? Thrown out, and they were causing chaos upon the earth, and they were on here beforehand. So it was all kind of bad things that are going on inside of you. It's just like you take water, right? Another week of my props, right? I don't even think about it. You take water, you just let it sit there and sit there. It becomes stagnant, right? That's why sometimes you shake it up. What happens? You get bubbles. You get what? You're getting a refreshment. You're getting a new start. When we allow all of this stuff from the past to sit down and dwell in us, and then we wonder why we're not changing. Then we wonder why, we're searching for the cup of life and we can't find it. It is what the Most High wants us. This is what we got to understand, because if we turn around and keep looking at our situations, people want to complain about their situation, but they don't want to change the situation. They don't want to change what they're going through. They don't want to be flooded out, right? They don't want to have to, listen, y'all, flood it out, cry it out, let it all out. This is our problem because we keep it bent inside and we never ever, shalom, prophetess, we never ever release it. So now it becomes stagnant. It becomes no good. It becomes still. Bacteria starts to form, right? Destruction starts, and what happens? We start spewing it back out on people. We got to be better. We see the power. 1 Peter chapter 2, 3:21. It says the baptism which corresponds to this now saves you, not as removal of dirt from the body, but as an appeal to Yah for what? Good conscience through the resurrection. So when you take yourself and you say, listen, okay, I'm being made new, right? So, okay, we'll go back to Genesis 1. Corruptness came on the earth. Before all of this corruptness was going on in the earth was moving in order. Slowly but surely, what happened? Sin came in, anger came in, hatred came in. The world started to be corrupt. Yah sent the flood and said, I'm sending a great reset. I'm going to flood all of this out. Now that's another question that we start dealing with Genesis, because when we look at the flood, you know, it makes you think, okay, well, Noah was in the line of Seth. That was a righteous bloodline. So I always say, and I try to study, and it really doesn't give you the answers. Where did sin come back in? Did sin come from Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, or Japheth? We would probably we could err and say no, because Noah had the pure bloodline. Even though Noah married in, we don't really know about his wife's bloodline. But somewhere it came in. Did it come in through the wives, right? Did it come through, okay, he destroyed all of the earth and everything that was on it, and we understand things in the water? I was studying this, and I found out that like not even a third, I forgot the number, not even a third of the earth's waters have ever been, it is so much water out there. I believe in Pangea. I believe in Pangea. The earth was all together at once, all the countries together. But most of the earth hasn't even, most of the water in the earth hasn't even been explored. So what happens? The water goes down. So it just, and I don't want to get sidetracked. It makes you sit here and think, well, how did this sin come back in? Was it in the bloodline? Was it passed down through the next marriage? But the point is that the flood came in to what? Clear and make a new path. The floods come in our lives sometimes when we don't want it, but it's Yah saying, I'm going to take you through this. Get your life jacket on, get on your boat, and you get ready to go on a trip, because I'm about to flood everything around you. But he wants you to sit here and say, I'm going to swim with you. I'm going to ride with you. I'm not going to jump out and dive out the boat and into the water. I'm not going to jump out like into hot fish grease and everything in life starts going. That's what Satan wants, man. There's so many trials and tribulations that he wants to face you with. He wants you to fall. You are the controller of your universe. You're the controller of your family. You are the one. Sometimes people say, why did I go through all this? Why not? Because you were the one that he knew was going to be able to make it through and be the testimony to other people. When other people would turn around and what? Possibly fail, possibly fall off, right? So we start dealing with this, and now we start looking like into baptism, because we start dealing with the power of water, right? So the immersion. So many of us know the word as baptism, right? You get baptized. Most Christian churches teach that it's an outward sign, or some of them, even Catholic Church, teach that you get what? You sprinkle the water on you, and we know that that's not really right. And when we start dealing with it and looking in the Tanakh, we look in the Bible, we see that there was a flooding or a water that every single time a water appeared, it was to cleanse. It was to take them somewhere. When the children of Israel ended up leaving out of Egypt, where did they go? They went to the Reed or the Red Sea. As they went through that sea, what was there? It was water. I need to wash you clean of them old ways. I need you to let the ways of Egypt go. Turn back. You don't think they weren't walking through water that was going 90 feet up in the air, and that water wasn't coming down on them? The Most High was saying, I want to wash you and make you white as snow. That means start to just let go. Release all of that stuff. Don't bring that toxicity in here, and now you're polluting my water, right? If the water's polluted, can things of righteousness grow in it? No. Pollution creates what? More pollution, right? So, we got to sit down and we look, and we got to say, okay, And while we're dealing with baptism, when we look at the baptism and the whole thing of baptism, being baptized, you know, most of it came from what? The school of Hillel. So when you deal with the school of Hillel and baptism, right? Yeah, make Yah wash us, right? That was where how the whole baptismal, you know, issue started coming in. But I don't want to get I don't want to get sidetracked really and start really dealing with that, right? So the Most High, even through Yeshua, he says what? He says in Matthew 29:19, he says, therefore make me disciples of what? All nations. Oh, some of you Israelites may get mad. All nations. All nations. When we rewind and look at history, everybody came from what? One person or one set group of people. He's telling you, I'm cleaning you, I'm straightening you out because I need the whole world, which I created to run righteously, to get back in righteous order. I can't just go to some nations. I just can't go to this nation. I'm telling you what the scripture says. He says all nations, right? He says, and then what? Immerse them in my name. Flood them with Torah. Flood them with me. Flood them with the Bible, with Yah. Flood them, because if they become flooded, right, from the inside, all of those things, what? Will start coming out from the outside, right? What do you end up doing if sometimes, and I know we got some nurses on here, doctors, right? When someone gets sick, what do? Or they drink poison, right? They say, okay, drink some of this. Take some milk and magnesia. Take some, you can read in the stomach. Take some laxative. You're flooding what? All of that inside you to what? Eliminate the waste. You're flooding it down and drinking it to what? Eliminate all of that bad stuff in you. The floods are good, y'all. We got to see this, right? Let me go to Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 13. Yes, this kind of it goes in a parallel of earlier today. This is deep. Jeremiah 2, verse 10. For my people committed 2 evils. What did he say? My people committed 2 evils. Right here. They have forsaken me. We're in a situation that we are. Because why? Our ancestors, our bloodline, and even some of us today, even those of us in the truth, we forsake the Most High. I had to talk to my children about this. I said, listen, the Bible says, anything you put before the Most High becomes an idol. I told you all this. I went through this. I was in bodybuilding, training in the gym, hours and hours, and eating and putting food and everything. I put it before my family. I was putting it before reading. I get into bed. I'm saying a prayer and I'm sleeping. You created an idol. We got to be very careful, right? So we got to watch this. It says, Jeremiah 2:13, for my people committed 2 evils. They have forsaken me, right? The fountain of what? The living water. The water, that's what makes you, the water is what makes you pure. The water, the Torah, the power of the Torah. Water in Hebrew is ma'im. It's the power that's going to cleanse you from the outside inward. The water is what's going to what? Flush all of those things, all of those past hurts, harms out of your body. Get rid of the toxins. That's what a flood was about. We saw it, we seen it in North Carolina. What happens? Yes. All of these things happen, but what happens? You get new growth now. You get new minerals now. You have minerals from a flood that came, what? From out of the salt water that caused what? New growth in the earth. He wants us to have the new growth. He wants us to be what? It says, okay, the fountain of living waters and hewed out the cisterns for themselves. Broken cisterns, right, can't hold any water. Broken cisterns, we use a broken well. What's at the bottom? Mud, muck. That's all that stuff that's came into us. And then we realize that now we're serving this. The same water that I'm supposed to be drinking, the same water I'm supposed to be teaching is now coming out what? It's coming out polluted. I'm serving this to people. I'm serving this to my family because I don't want to flood out and deal with those things that are deep down inside of me. You deal with it, you know, even when, you know, we're talking about working out. You know, what do they say? You're working out, you have to what? Flood your body with the nutrients. You have to replenish. What happens when you don't replenish? You dehydrate. You become no good. Dehydrate. You become toxic. Right? Ephesians 5:26. It says that he may sanctify her having cleansed her by the washing of water, right, with the word. Washing, the power of the water, the power of the word, right, is in what? This is the water. This is why, this is all that you need to drink. But we got to learn to what? Apply it. We have to learn how to understand that, you know, we got to stop being ignorant about this, about things in our lives. Yes, it's me. Yes, I got decades worth of issues. Yes, I got mommy daddy issues. Yes, I got brother sister jealousy issues. Yes, I got whatever your issues are. But it starts with what? Washing it, admitting it, then release it, cry it out. Cry it out. There's nothing wrong with sitting in a four-corner room with candles lit and ain't paper. What's wrong with you? I got to let this go. I got to release this. I got to flood this out of my system. I got to flood it out. Y'all, I know y'all get it. I know y'all get it, right? So when we go back and we really sit here and we start looking at all of these things, we have to look at some of the issues that we have within ourselves. And I'm going to get into Ezekiel chapter 47. I need y'all to take notes on this one. Ezekiel chapter 47. It's the flood. Floods are there. They're great. Accept them. Say, hey, listen, I'm ready to go. And what do we flood ourselves with? Depression. I flood myself with medication. I flood myself with drugs. I flood myself with alcohol. You flood yourself with a sexual appetite. It's a flood, right? You're going to go get wet. I'm going to go get, that was a saying, a Jersey saying, I'm going to go get wet, right? What are you doing? You're stepping back in. You're listen, even when we were first created, we were created from the Sumerian, from the Shamayim, from the heavens. Where did we come from? We came from out of the heaven through the cloud. Well, what's a cloud? It's water. When you die, where do you return? The Most High is your spirit returns to the Creator, the Universal Father. You're going to go back up. You become what? Cleansed. Hey, listen. I know, Brother Teddy, my old apostle. He used to get on me. He used to be like, Elder, yo, you can't say that. You know, I did a lesson years ago. It was on oh man, I forgot what her name is. It was like I just flipped the Cardi B song, you know, and use her words. And he was like, yo, listen, but it's to understand. It's today, right? So let me hit in Ezekiel chapter. Hey, shalom, sis. Shalom, y'all. Ezekiel 47, 1 through 12. It says, and he brought back to me unto the door of the house, and behold, waters issued out from under the threshold of the house eastward, right? So the door is your mind. What you open your mind to, you open the door to. If you open your door to corruptness, if you open your door to wickedness, if you open up to anger, if you open it up to sexual morality, if you open it up to drugs, what are you opening your door to? Because this is the door of your thought, right? So this is the I am. This is what your mind thinketh, right? So he says the door of the house. So you have to have, the door has to open up in order for something to get into your temple. What are you flooding into your temple? What are you allowing to come into your house? Let's keep it real. Some things came into us because it was just passed down on generations. Some things were passed from traditions. Some things were taught to us by wrong teachings, and we never ever studied to look and see where he doesn't say that. What comes into us? But it says, behold, the waters issue from under the threshold of the house, right? And this gets deep, right? Eastward. For the forefront of the house was towards the east. So I don't know how to make this not very difficult, but when you look at the wording in this, right? The door of the temple, your temple, right? Let's go to Acts 3 and 2. And I'll come back to the east because we're gonna come back. I have to figure out how to. All right, Acts 3 verse 2. Help me with this. Acts 3 verse 2. It says, one day Peter and John went to the temple at 3 o'clock in the afternoon hour for prayer. So now we should know what time of day, one of the time of days that we should be praying, right? There's a reason why they knew what time they had to pray. They knew what time they had to flood themselves with time with the Most High. Yes, society has trained us to take the easy way out, and a lot of that really is that's really what it is. I'm telling you, if we could take what we have now and go back, we'll say 1400s, 1300s, 800s, 700s, back to society, to some of those people. Yeah, listen to this. Imagine Albert Einstein had the technology of today to know what he knows now, or to learn what he knows now. Shalom. Think about that. The easy way. So there was a beautiful gate, and it was called a man who had been lamed all his life. Every day he was carried to the gate to beg for money from the people who were going to the temple, right? So when we start looking at this, the door of the temple is really, at the end of the day, it says what? A beautiful gate. Your door, your temple, what you open up in your mind, it should be a beautiful